The DJ is just getting set up. The dancing girls putting the makeup on in the background, and the horses have just entered the arena. Bitcoin bottom signals flashing. Previous rebounds from this zone in 2022, 51%. 2021 was 108%, and a mere 42% in 2020. The smart ones are accumulating while the others are sleeping. The party is just about to begin. Let's get this party started. Welcome back, Crypto Crew. It is your boy Tom here, giving you the hottest in Bitcoin and crypto action. Make sure that you give us a like, make sure that you hit subscribe, and of course, make sure that you follow us on X for all our Bitcoin and crypto talk all day, every day. All right, crew, let's get into it. Today is April 22nd, 2025. The market is expected to make some major moves coming up. I would just want to go over the short-term chart, just give you a quick, brief overview of what's been going on. All right, well, the market itself was in a tight triangle after it recovered off of this double bottom low that we had right here. Now, the first a little bit of wood that we had to chop was in this area. Now, notice this. You see this? We had this original bit of the hiccup in the market. This was the actual return before the sellers came in and pushed the marketplace down. So this became a pretty strong area of short-term resistance since this is a 4-hour chart, okay? So you could see that if we're just looking in this area, if I just kind of come over here, swiggle over here, notice how much trouble the marketplace had getting through this. It was just basically history kind of repeating itself, kind of doing the same thing in this area that it did previously. It was a head fake for all the people that were not in the know. And the marketplace basically coiled, and we finally started to break out. We're finally starting to break out and get above this. Well, the first critical level that we have to get above is this 89,000. We're just starting to get through there now. But historically, when we're talking about longer term, okay, we're talking about, when we look at the weekly charts, the crypto market itself, overall, the crypto market itself is expecting a major move in the next 3 to 6 months. Due to what? Well, fundamental and technical patterns that have historically followed by significant gains. Now, Bitcoin itself, now why, okay, what are we talking about fundamental? Well, we're talking about, first of all, we're looking at the dollar index. Dollar is getting crushed, okay? Therefore, it's inverse relationship between the dollar and crypto itself. Look at the M2. We've been talking about this forever. M2 global money, I mean, it's flooding the system. Now, of course, we talked about yesterday, and we've been talking about the rift between Powell and Trump. And we said they should just get in a ring and duke it out. But really, in reality, eventually the Fed is going to have to cut the rates. Now, we just recently broke above the range high of, say, 87,000. Now, is it confirming complete trend shift? Well, if we look at this on the daily, okay, we finally broke up. We got a target coming up towards that 100,000. However, we could see a pullback to around 86,900, 86,000 itself. Okay, but it's signaling the end of a broader downtrend. Now, like we said before, the dollar index is breaking down. And since it's inversely correlated to crypto prices, this is a bullish macro signal that could push Bitcoin finally back above the highs of 109. Now, I want to show you something. Look at this. I'm just going to flash this. Look at the Dow. I mean, actually the S&P. Look at the Dow. All down, okay? Now, if we go back and we look at, Bitcoin itself, it's finally decoupling away from the traditional financial instruments. And I'm going to get back to that again in a second. But if we can't ignore the fact that global liquidity is rising fast and Bitcoin is decoupling from traditional financial markets. Even while stocks dip, Bitcoin's holding strong, showing strength. Now, it's the reason it hasn't been flying and just jumping because of what's going on in the stock markets. Markets, global asset managers are freaking confused. They get confused just like we do. Okay, so they're working their way through it. They're not as clear as we are. Just get long Bitcoin and forget about it. But they have to protect their positions. I can understand that. So, if we go back to the good old daily chart here, we see the double bottom has been forming, right? We saw that formation. We finally saw the breakout. Okay, and now what we're seeing, we know for this is a classic pattern. Don't know it's a reversal signal. It usually forms after a sustained downward trend. Now this downward trend really wasn't sustained. It was a normal downward movement, and we were talking about that. We're saying, Bitcoin could have an actual 35 to 40% drop from tops. It's done it before, and if you go back to our old videos, we discussed that. So this really wasn't a tremendous drop for the coin. It was a tremendous drop for people that aren't in the know, and they got long at 109,000, and it dropped, and they actually crapped themselves a little bit. And if they were playing with the rent money, I can understand why. If they were playing with investment money, there was no reason to really panic over it, because this is the long term we're talking, not the daily minutia fluctuation in prices. Unless you're going to be a day trader like me, and enjoy the party but dance near the door. But let's take a close look at the EMA ribbons. Bitcoin has finally just broke above them. Okay, it finally is just breaking above the EMA ribbons right now on the daily. Now, what we have to make, this is the area that tends to have a magnetic effect on the prices. Remember, I told you, we were talking about that yesterday. Act as these are kind of a magnet. This price could actually get pulled down into the EMA ribbons now, and then get finally the price. Once the price starts leading, as you can see, the EMA on the lower right here is starting to turn up a little bit. Okay, because price always leads these, but eventually, once we break free of these, we're actually looking at this first level here, 95,000. And then above that, we got some wood to chop up here around 100,000. And then we're kind of off to the races of challenging the 109 high. But one step at a time, just hold on tight to the range. Like I said, the party girls are getting their makeup on. The horses have entered the arena, the ponies entered the arena. Where that circus idea came from in my mind, I have absolutely no clue. But, it just, I don't know. This whole thing always reminds me of a circus. But anyway, so we can see Bitcoin gaining momentum. We're going to be looking at this weekly, where we have the Bitcoin bottom zone. We could see that we're gaining momentum, showing signs of breaking free from the longer term downward resistance that we had. Longer term, I mean, like I just said, it really wasn't that long term. Now, if we can close above 90,000 this week, I feel that's a very, very strong indication that we're opening up the door to that potential 95,000 that I've been talking about on the EMA ribbon right here. Okay, I think that's great. I think that could be it. Now, once we break this level, okay, we're talking about that psychological point at 100,000. Right around here, right there, psychological point, 97, 100,000. Look at that straight line I drew, huh? Haven't even been drinking. All right, so looking ahead, all right, we're going to be looking at actual global money supply one more time. All right. The Federal Reserve is expected to shift gears with an aggressive quantitative easing. Now, Jerome Powell's time is up, but it's quite a long distance away. And the rift has been getting stronger and stronger between Trump and Powell. Well, now, who's going to break? I know Trump is not going to stop. He's going to keep hammering this guy to lower rates. Pretty soon he's going to be calling him, "You're a loser. You have no idea what you're doing." I mean, if I was running the Fed, the economy would be zooming. Donald Trump. Okay, so he's definitely not going to stop. So once the first Fed rate happens, it could mean trillions of dollars entering the market, boosting risk-on assets like crypto and Ethereum. Now, we've been talking about Ethereum. Ethereum is massively underrated. And I have an X post that I want to show you. I'm going to actually show it to you right here. I think it's really important we put this up. We got our chief deal is loading up on Ethereum, and he's looking at the Bitcoin move from 8,000 to 64,000 in 2020. And he's actually saying, look at the chart. Okay, the chart pattern is exactly the same. It's the same setup before the massive breakout. History, he says history loves to rhyme. Okay, and as if we pull in, we can see exactly it's the same exact type of pattern that's happening here. Now I want to go over to the chart itself. We got the RSI stochastic showing that it's over, it's overdone. Now, if we just add the MVRV score in there, anytime we dip below, like dip down to these levels, it's historically been a generational buying zone. Now, the altcoin market itself, is if we look at the altcoin market itself, we are seeing, a complete. It's the dollar index. Where's my altcoin market, man? Where's my altcoin market? It disappeared on me. Hang on, I'll find it for you. That's not it. Okay, hang on a second here. I'm gonna find it right now. I'm gonna put it up right here. How it changed, I don't know. I think it's right here. Okay, right there. All right, here we go. And we're gonna go on the weekly here. Let's go to the weekly. So you get into the ugly back office here. All right, so here we go. What do we got on the altcoin market? We got we got the classic cup and handle formation that we discussed the other day. Okay, so if we measure the breakout of the cup, okay, to the bottom, we're talking trillions of dollars floating in here. So this is a classic bullish continuation setup, especially with the global liquidity surge that we've been talking about. All right, before I wrap it up, I got to tell you, Crypto Crew, about our trading community. Okay, right now, if you're interested, come on over here, and you could click this link right here. It's totally free to join up. It will take you over to our other site right here where you can join the wait list, get in on it. It's totally free. Like I said, we're dropping insane alpha and trading opportunities from breakout setups to long-term gems. We got you covered. We're looking for you to join our trading room. We want you to be part of our trading team. We want you to be part of the group that has the same goals and objectives, and we can share wins and stories and have fun together. That's all what this is all about. Regardless of the money, it's really about building relationships and having fun with life. And really, that's what we're looking to do. We're literally to enjoy our time here on this beautiful planet. It's short, let me tell you. Blink of an eye, and before you know it, you're walking around with me like a cane, So anyway, if you want, also, you can come on over and look at our preferred broker. It's a solid broker. Check our trusted broker link. Low fees, fast execution, perfect strategies. Join the crew, level up your trading, and let's stack those profits and those stories together. All right, crew, that's what we got for our update today. Make sure you follow us on X, where we're dropping all our information all day, every day. Also, trade with your head, not over it. Do your own research. These are just my opinion, although they're pretty strong, solid opinions, but they are opinions. And remember, always as a short-term trader, enjoy the party, but dance near the door. Cheers.